Equality needs everything equal. Inequity, specifically selected argument of inequity, negates equality. The period from 1600 onwards was one of the darkest times in human history. People of one race, using unbridled greed and ruthlessness, used one painfully constructed story of Jesus Christ and his virgin birth, etc., to create a mascot that could be used to camouflage and lead their attack on the rest of mankind. Natives of at least 3 continents, the Americas and the Australia and New Zealand, were chained, killed, tortured, and wiped out. Now they exist only in small pieces of land as nothing more than cute exhibits. Natives of 2 other continents, Africa and Asia, were enslaved, traded, and thrown far away from their homes with their identities wiped out. Today, when we talk about equality, then it has to be in a way that recognizes the pain that mankind has gone through on account of that ruthless evil that was perpetrated in the name of a fake narrative and story. This is not a call to make this generation either represent the victimhood of the past generations or be the ones to answer for the crimes of their forefathers, for that would be yet another atrocity. This is a call to recognize those crimes committed on the slaves from Africa, indentured slaves from China and India, natives of North and South America, and of Australia and New Zealand. Recognize that the suffering happened in equal measure. One successful Obama does not negate the pain that is inherent in the black community. One successful Priti Patel or Sundar Pichai does not take away from the crimes that the Indian people went through as indentured slaves and forced poverty by the British. Just as using Obama's success to negate his African credentials is cruel, so is ridiculing Priti Patel's claims to having faced racism. Both had a different way of handling the crimes of racism that they actively encountered in their lives. They did not let their victimization define them. They instead used it to rise higher. Victimization does not always have to become a caricature by manifesting into a neat, nice victim card. It can brave the insults and still rise higher with full force of humanity in one's possession behind it. But in doing so, the pain is not imaginary. It is a collective experience, a scar that is looked at, tended to, and taken care of while moving ahead. But it is there nevertheless. Worse than inflicting the wound on someone is to gaslight him and tell him that this wound never existed. Or worse, he self-inflicted it on himself. Or even more cruelly, to tell him that even to talk about that wound is akin to being a bigot. That to even point out that the wounds that men of cruel and cunning intentions inflicted on millions would be a blot on entire humanity. The voice of the wounded is a reflection of some malice in him. How long would this ordeal of cunning criminality be allowed in the name of good of the victim? The wounds of Africans have been recognized, movies made, books written, committees constituted, laws made. What about the wounds of slavery and civilizational attack inflicted on Indians, predominantly Hindus? How is it that even discussing it is being made a crime? In the new liberal ethos of the West today, gaslighting an entire wronged group of people, enslaved and tortured, is a new definition of human rights. That iniquity, that crime, is what needs to be battled by us all for equality to really be a reality.